those 6 people alone give me the faith to know that the Auckland Motorcycle Club in very good hands. Well, in some ways, probably a little disappointing that we have our last race of the championship. It all comes down to this, and there's only 7 have turned up on the line for that Superlite. So hopefully to see more of the Superlite class. Hey, we went down south and we had the likes of former champion Richard Newbury join us. He was on the famous Colin Klein Motorcycles class. I really think that with the likes of a Glenn Williams, who's retired, Andy Bolwell not racing in the very unfortunate death of Terry Fitzgerald, of course, related to a motorcycle incident. And it just really has taken the sting out of this prestigious class, Superlites. And it's really just opened the door and said to anybody, you can have a go, but we're probably losing the art as well of the Kiwi garage, because this is a Kiwi garage class. There isn't really a Superlite bike off the showroom floor that is going to compete with these. You've got to do lots of work, and you need a good motorbike, you need a good workshop, and perhaps that's what we're missing. Go back to the Tony McMurdo's of this world. Now, there was a guy that could make a bike move. We've had lots of great characters in this class over the years, and really just missing that a little bit at the moment, as we lack the depth in the class to have made it the championship it once was. But anyway, Gav Veltmeyer, Matt Hugenbosom, Jacob Stroud, Max Olsen, James Knowles, Rod Gibson and Johnny Lewis are the 7 remaining in the lineup. And I was just quickly trying to have a look for the overall sheet and just see it's gone. So just to see how many we'd had. So no, unfortunately that result sheet's away, but we will be reflecting on that, of course, in the prize giving. We take an opportunity to well, I think we've seen Jacob start to make his move, and I wonder whether that's Jacob that's gone up there into 2nd place. Shown of being in 4th place before. I just think he'd had the drop on the inside of the barrel roll there and hook himself up into 2nd. But hey, Gav Veltmeyer's the man.
Yeah, certainly a class act out there. Side by side going there for 2nd place as well. Side by side, it looked like Jacob Stroud had it as they were going through there, but I'll tell you what, it's by very narrowest of margins. And what do we got? We got 28 thousandths of a second, so it is Jacob Stroud in 2nd, Max Olsen, Matt Hugenbosom, Rod Gibson, James Knowles and Johnny Lewis on the 54 machine. Great to see Johnny Lewis. He did the first, he was at the cemetery circuit this year. I don't think it was his first time there. Also, yeah, good to see him on the number 54 machine from Nelson. So, no, I don't think he's been here to Hampton Downs before, but we will stand to be corrected. Maybe we can update you next season. Really great season, all those flaggies and all the rounds. All the hot, the rain, we haven't had too much rain this year, but in fact, have we had any rain at any of the race meetings? In the actual racing, I can't think we have much at all. Oh, it's so long ago, I don't even want to check the weather forecast. Gavin Veltmeyer comes up there over the hill there, and Jacob Stroud has broken loose there into 2nd place. He is the new Superlite champion, and there he goes through in fine style there on the 11 machine. Talked about him before, taking off one of his ones there because he is the current new New Zealand champion. Obviously didn't hear us or didn't think of doing that. So a lot of ones in the Stroud family. We got a 1 and a 0 on the old man's bike, Andrew. We got a 1 and a 1 on his bike, and we got young Jesse Stroud, the 111, running Aaron Slight's number as well. So. And I wonder how many of the other kids are going to take up motorcycle racing. Caleb was down the south. Unfortunately, he broke a skateboard at practice in, I think, Teretonga. And small bone, the hardest healing bone in your body. And I haven't seen Caleb here this weekend. Haven't seen much of the kids, actually. We're over the other side of the track most of the weekend. And I've got to take my hat off, too, when Sean Harris had his massive accident in Timaru. Karen Stroud, despite being scheduled for surgery for a hernia, just minor surgery in Hamilton, at the end of the weekend, she busted her gut to try and assist Fiona Kelson, which is Sean's wife, and Petra Harris, which is Sean's daughter, to get up to, or up from Newfoundland up to Auckland, back down to Christchurch to see their very, very severely injured husband and father. So Karen, thank you for doing that, as well as trying to manage Andrew and Tim. What a sensational job. Haven't actually caught up with Karen this weekend. Hopefully we might see her prize giving, but out on the track, she's got her son out there in second place. Can he reel in Gavin Veltmeyer? This is the last race of the weekend, and Jacob Stroud has put in a 1:10.621 with a 1:10.83.8 for Gavin Veltmeyer in the last laps. We've got just 4 laps to go. I don't really think it's going to happen, but hey, we've seen a couple of sensational finishes this weekend. What a massive race we had in the 600 class. What a massive races we've had in most of the classes all weekend. Sidecars finally come alive at the front of the field. We've seen the domination of Colin Buckley and Robbie Shorter, and to see him, I wouldn't say struggling, but certainly not quite winning. It was great to see him pushed as well. Also the 250 class, but it's been a ding-dong all season, including young Jacob Stroud in there with Lewis Stray winning that. We've seen massive battles in the 125s. Further down the field with Rogan Chandler getting a clean set of points. First, 1 point for every qualifying of the National Championship, 25 for everything else all the way through. So I look forward to next year's Superlite Championship. Of course, we've got a couple of meetings coming up. There's the Methven Street races at Easter. I think in the first weekend of April at Manfield they're having the Central Sound of Thunder. What part of the Sound of Thunder series that's been around for years and years. They haven't been to Manfield right for a lot of years, but Vince Burrell has decided to put his money where his mouth is and run that meeting as well. And we've also got the Sidecar Have a Go Day. You want to have a go on a sidecar, get to Taupo Motorsport Park on the 30th of April, $10 for 3 laps. You can ride or swing, you can go out as many times as you like, and of course there is a practice session there for the people that want to actually practice on their sidecars later in the day. So details, you'll see that on Facebook. You can get hold of someone that knows about sidecars. They'll tell you when that is. And I've been to the Have a Go days. There's so many people that say, oh, I'd love to have a go at that. Well, there's your opportunity on the 30th of April, and there will be camping at the track and no doubt a couple of beers later on in the day. Another clean lap for Gavin Veltmeyer with Jacob Stroud. He is closing them down. He is getting closer and closer, but with just 2 laps to go, the gap of about 2 seconds is not going to happen. But Jacob Stroud is the fastest man on the track, just by 0.1 of a second. Johnny Lewis on the 54 machine, another well-presented machine, goes past the start-finish right there. And all the way up from Nelson, there's a lot of people travelling a bit further. Bit of a shame, Jeremy Holmes and the Honda team from Southland Honda couldn't make it this weekend. Put their bike together earlier in the week, but there was something wrong with it, so they elected not to spend the time and the money coming north. So we look forward to seeing them next season. Great to be back at Invercargill. It would be nice to have 2 rounds up the North Island. Normally for the last few years I've come up here to Hampton Downs, and we've done this meeting and then it's been down to Taupo. So hopefully something can happen and we can get back to 2 rounds in the North Island. Maybe it's back to 2 rounds in the South Island, 2 rounds in the North Island. Also great over the last 2 or 3 seasons to see what they call a double header, where we saw a couple of seasons ago the final round at Taupo having Banfield, having 5 races. White flag, 5 races. Then we saw Ruapuna the first round having 5 races, and we've not quite got a full double header here. 4 races here for the ride around this weekend. Of course, this is the final lap of the final race of the day. And thank you much, Greg Purcell, and all the others that made the season work. All the people that put it in the hard yards. It's a relatively easy job for the commentators to sit up here in the sun with a fridge behind us and just gabble on about the weekend. When I put the microphone at the end of the day, that's my sort of job done and dusted. There might be a bit of prize-giving duties, but there's all the people that have made the financial thing happen, all the entries, bits and pieces, arranging enough flag marshals. It's a huge job all around New Zealand, and we thank you for your support behind motorcycle racing. And I get a lot of people come up to me and say, thanks, you've done a wonderful job. I'm a bit more recognisable than some other people in the thing, but there's definitely a lot of other people that put in a lot more time, and it's great to have Neil Ritchie here. Missed yesterday, had other commitments yesterday, but it's great to have him. I really enjoy having 2 commentators. We're not in charge. No one's in charge when we're up in the commentary box, but certainly it's great to have Neil Ritchie. There's the checkered flag, Neil.
Yeah, well done. Thank you, Spider. Opportunity just to conclude. Oh, look at that, how close, nothing in it, fight for third place. And yes indeed, Matt Hugenboozer, Max Olsen to the line, super close, tight line, but hey, well done. Gav Beltmire, he'd love that to be more common through the race, but well done on that SV650 special. The GVR, Gavin Beltmire Racing, Coleman supported SV650 special, home there for a great win. Well done, Gav. He'll be saying, now, why couldn't I have done that in the other series? And why did he have to save the best till last? But like many riders here today, certainly have excelled on their home track. The Auckland boys have certainly come to dominate it, which is what you expect with a home track. It's what the advantage is. But psychologically, the chips are down when you've done all your racing in the beautiful mainland, and you come here to give it one last chance, and that's what Gav has done, but didn't quite get the overall glory that he wanted, but well done all the same. So Gav Beltmire for Coleman Suzuki coming home there. Jacob Stroud, the Bed, Bath and Beyond men. On the No Hair Racing, Pirelli, iPhone, AGV, Sabaki Chain, Falco, RST and EBC there. All the riders have grouped up there together. They've been just sort of putting their hands out, acknowledging the other riders in the field. There's 2 of the 7 are up front, and there's the other group with 5 of the 7, so these guys will come around. Coleman Suzuki, buy online from the #1 Suzuki dealer in NZ, Coleman Suzuki. None better than Coleman's, long-time supporters of Auckland Motorcycle Club. More importantly, well established as Suzuki's #1 motorcycle dealer, well established as the